Hello everyone, welcome to Live with Sirus Migration Education. My name is Isuru Yapa, I'm a registered migration agent, and I've got Ashani here with me. She's also an education and migration agent. So got a few updates to talk to you about, and this session is dedicated to people who would like to discuss their migration issues and share our knowledge. And if you wanted to ask any live question, this is the opportunity for you. And we coming through from different social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and anything else, Mario, or TikTok? No? So if you have any questions, please remember to put your question down in the comment section down below, so we'll be able to answer your questions, and in between we'll be talking about new updates, what's going on these days, because there are so many updates, migration updates coming up every day these days. So we'll talk about this.
Yeah, and I think before we start the session, there's some questions that we would like to answer from people who's been asking us through
common
different
questions.
Platforms.
Yeah,
So
and
question one.
so it is time to remind everyone, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, it is the time to hit that subscribe button and thumbs up button, so you'll be subscribed to our channel and you'll get to know any information that we share about immigration updates and education updates and enrollment information to universities, etc. So what's the first one?
The first question?
From the UK. So the question is, what is your current processing time for
GTI?
GTI.
Yeah.
So GTI has got two parts of the application, so it depends which part you're asking for. Expression of interest, because this is GTI stands for Global Talent Independent Visa. It's an invitation only visa. It's got two parts. One's the expression of interest, where you need to convince the case officers to get your invitation. Once the invitation is given, then you can apply for your visa application.
Visa is normally, it's a very fast visa when it comes to it. It's like 4 to 8 weeks. It's a quick visa, but
these days it can take a little longer.
Yeah, but invitation depends on how prominent you are. So if you're prominent enough, they might even invite you in one day, but it can go up to about a year.
We had some, Ashani had some success stories lately where she had an invitation within a day for a GTI EOI, which is very good.
So what's the
it
second
can go
question?
up to 8-12 months.
Yeah.
In general cases, but prominency and what's the demand on your target sector can matter for this invitation process as well. And also, right now the medical sector is very fast. Financial services sector is second to medical sector, and the other sectors other target sectors are also working, but take their time. Digital. Like I think ICT sector is the Digitech sector. The target sector can take generally about 8 months these days.
The second question is from Romina. Is the 476 graduate visa still available in Australia? Unfortunately, the answer is no.
The quota is over, so
yeah, so it's not available right now. Question 3 from Love Nij on Facebook. If you are 801, do you need to renew? So 801, it's a permanent residency. So once you have the 801 granted, means you're an Australian permanent resident. If you're going to live in Australia indefinitely, you don't need to renew it. That is enough, and you can apply for citizenship whenever you are ready, once you're eligible. But if you still hold the 801 or the permanent residency visa after 5 years, if you want to leave Australia and then come back, it's going to be an issue. So if you have to apply for a resident return visa.
So 801, you don't need to renew. I mean, yes or no. After 4 years, you can apply for your citizenship. If you didn't apply for your citizenship, you're still in this. In Australia, visa indefinition has a time limit, which is 5 years. Every 5 years, you need to to renew it if you go outside of Australia. So
Yeah.
remember to get your resident return visa unless you have a new citizenship or you converted your visa into the citizenship into Australian citizenship. Otherwise, every 5 years your visa needs to be renewed.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't cost you a lot. There's no big process that you have to go through. They just simply see your criminal background and your residency background, whether you've been living in Australia for the majority of the time.
We've got a question from Fazal Khan. When is 189 round happening? Have 75 points, occupation motor mechanic in Victoria. Any chance or not enough points? What do you think? 75 points for 189. It's a 50-50 chance, to be honest. That's what I think. But I don't, depending on your visa expiry, maybe look for other options. If you're a motor mechanic already working in Victoria, maybe you will have an employer nominated visa option if you talk to your employer for a 482 visa. I know there are a lot of motor mechanics around in Australia right now being sponsored by employers. So as I said, it's good to wait if you have years and years visa left. But if you only have like a year or less than 1 year, it may not be a good idea to just wait on your 189 Fazal, and you look for other options.
So we've got a few other questions in there, and also remember when you applying through general skill migration 189, 190 or 491, you're going through an expression of interest stage. Again, this is an invitation only visa, so during the process of expression of interest or getting the invitation, you do not get a bridging visa, or you do not get another visa to stay. So if you want to remain in Australia, you got to make sure you have another visa to stay in Australia while your invitation is in process. There's no definition whether you will get an invitation or not. It can get expired if your points are not up to requirement. When you need when you get an invitation, then you can apply for a visa. From that point onwards, you'll have a bridging visa to stay if you were living lawfully in Australia. So if you like to discuss further on this, feel free to be in touch. And if you if you're going through an expression of interest and your visa is expiring soon, be in touch to discuss if there's any other migration pathway that might be available for you, because majority of you guys who are going through general skill migration, you are holding a skill assessment, and you generally must have competed English. So this also means you're eligible to apply for a work visa as well. So it could be a 482, it could be a 186. So we might be able to guide you through other options that may be available for you, or educate or plan your pathway. So if you need more information related to your background, be in touch. We'll have a further chat which is relevant to your own background in person. We got another question from Facebook. We'll just quickly go up a bit.
I think
That's us. So Komalan Erampa Murthy, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Komalan. Is it need employer sponsor? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe the GTA
for civil engineering technician. I think it's the same person.
Same person, yeah. So civil engineering technician, again, you have multiple options.
Yeah.
General skill migration, and also employment nominated
yes.
visas.
I think
Temporary
there's another
skills
question
shortage
from him
visa as well.
if you keep going down,
Oh
yeah, it's the same
Same
question.
question,
So
yes.
yes, so this occupation, I believe it's on the medium to long term list. So you have the general skill migration as well as the employer nominated visa options. Yeah, is there another question? Anushka is asking how the new no further stay condition affects for students.
So with the no further stay, this is 8534. It's not 8503, which used to be there for student guardians back in the days. What it means is you will not be able to apply for another visa while you're in Australia. There are few exemptions that you can take for very limited emergency visas, but other than that you won't be able to apply for another visa while you're in Australia. So even for you to renew the visa, you might have to go out of the country
if that condition comes
up. But it is not been legislated yet. No directions. There were a few directions came through, but this is not one of them yet. But there's been discussions.
Sharon is asking, how is the status about PR invitations? It's a very general question.
Everyone's expecting this big loud invitation round to come through any time from now on to end of financial year. We don't know how it'll go. 189 sector, which is federal invitation system, did not come through for many occupations other than medical occupations since last 6 months or so. 190 is also slowed down. 491's the same boat. So we actually don't know. We're guessing there'll be a good round coming up. The most we can do at the moment is to put through good DOIs and be in the system. So if you get through, you get through.
Yeah. And Luke is asking, how about caregivers or aged care opportunity? I think
I'm not going to answer
about this. Yeah, it is through employer nomination only. So you can only apply right now for this visa if there is an Australian aged care who's willing to sponsor you. So we probably stop at that.
I'm not being aggressive, but look, there's many caregiver. There's a caregiver incentive available through Dharma program for people without an age limit, and waiving the experience. So you can, as long as you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you, and employer is approved by the MOU, signed by the health
party to the labor agreement.
Then they can sponsor you. But our experience from talking to clients and also the applicants and the employers, the opportunities are very limited, and I don't think there's many left in there. So if you were to study a course or do something just because you want to be qualified for this, I would say do a little bit more research and find out. But if you're in the caregiver sector, this is not the end of your journey. If you still have time and if you're still keen to improve your career through healthcare sector, you might want to consider upskilling yourself by doing Diploma of Health, Diploma of Nursing, Bachelor of Nursing, Master of Nursing. Master of Nursing can be done by non-background people as well. So if you don't have a nursing background and you have an accounting or IT background, there are certain universities that they offer Master of Nursing for non-nursing background students. So within the 2 years, you will get up to speed for registration.
Or graduate entry nursing, right?
Correct.
It's a bachelor level, but still done in 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't need to have a prior nursing background for this.
Yeah. To learn more, be in touch, and we'd love to show you correct pathways.
Yeah, and I've got just lost it. Rami is asking, my wife is doing a Master of Education. Can she follow Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education parallelly after 6 months?
Look, if she's currently in Australia studying, if the education provider agrees, yes, you can do it. There are restrictions for parallel COEs at the moment because some people misuse the system. So as long as early childhood and Master of Education, you're quite related. Yeah. So I can't see why, and why not. A lot of people who's studying construction management also does certificate 3 or 4 carpentry sometimes to get their background steady and strong. So
Yeah. So do you want to talk about global talent visa?
Very good topic. There's been an increase of interest for global talent independent, and we've been fortunate to have good success through this visa category. And this, what's good about global talent? This is a new visa, relatively new visa. It's only got introduced in 2019. So global talent doesn't have many red tapes. This is an invitation only visa which you have to go through expression of interest. There's no age limit, there's no English requirement, there's no minimum education background, there's no minimum work experience requirement. So what do we need then is the question. You want to answer that part?
Yeah, I think
you need to be prominent.
You need to be an expert. You need to be
a
top
globally
of
exposed
your
expert
field.
in your field.
Yes.
So the fields in this case, they go by target sectors. So they've introduced few target sectors, 10 target sectors, pretty much covering majority of the industries. So if you could relate yourself into one of these target sectors, you can, I'm not going to read them out because you can see it on the screen. So if you are currently working in any of these target sectors and you think you are prominent or you're an expert in the field and you have a global exposure through this, through your networks, through your presentation, through your education, academic background, and you have done presentations, you have done publications, you don't have to do all of these. These are some of the examples where you can improve yourself and show yourself. So, and you have worked with international teams in any of these sectors. And also one other indication is for you to have a current salary of Australian higher income threshold or higher. That's an indication that you're
prominent in your field, one indication that you have the opportunity to attract
absolutely
that much salary. So I think, as I said even last session as well, if you're a global talent material, you will know it. If so, get in touch with a migration agent, because I think the first part of the application, which is the EOI, that's the most important part, because once you get an
expression
EOI
of interest,
invitation, then the visa, it has its own challenges, but it's not as difficult as the EOI, and it's very important to get your EOI right the first time, because otherwise you'll be wasting 1 year of your life waiting for an invitation just to hear that you're not successful. And talking to a migration agent, they will be able to give you a good indication whether it's worth trying for GTI or not.
And also it's a good thing, like if you're not eligible, please don't waste up the processing team's time as well, because there are a lot of people who are qualified for this. And I mean, when we think prominent people, we used to think they 55 years of age, CEOs and scientists. But when you talk to our clients, I understand now, you can be 19 years old, you have done something significant in the world, and you're a glowing star that no one can stop you. So there are a lot of clients who are eligible for this, and there are a lot of benefits behind it. This is an Australian permanent residency visa category where you get a lot of benefits with it, and you can bring your family with you, and there's not much restrictions what you can be doing as you came. Like there's no certain area that you have to live, there's no employer that you must be working for a certain period of time, there's no state restriction or whatever. So you can come here and start your journey, and can be, one of my clients came and started his own fintech app and doing pretty good at the moment, I would say, with financial side of it as well. There are engineers, artificial intelligence experts, banking experts. There's a lot of talented people came through this, and the expectation is for you with your expertise to come to Australia and support post-COVID economic recovery, and also getting Australia to the competitive edge of the international market. So if you think you're one of those superstars who can come here and contribute to Australian economy, I think you'll be one of the targeted people who can be part of this journey.
Yeah, so we've got some questions which we'll answer. Vinay has some specific questions. Thank you, and they're really good questions too. Points specified are for developer programmer. What things do we need to check with an employer if we're looking for employer-sponsored visa? Is there anything like priority processing for employers sponsored with huge revenue in comparison with small businesses? And he's also saying thank you for answering the questions and informative session. And what is the minimum points for developer, programmer, software engineer, code who received an invitation in the financial year? So I believe Vinay is already in Australia working as a developer programmer and potential to get an employer sponsored visa. So the answer to your questions is we can't really give you an indication with the points. I think you have a good chance of getting an invitation, but then again, as I said earlier, if your visa is coming to an end, it's always good to talk to the employer to see the prospect of getting an employer nominated visa. And to answer that question, yes, if the employer has a turnover of over 10 million, then there is a chance that we can ask for the priority processing of the employer nominated visa. Then again, we have to look at which visa we are going to go for, whether it's 482 or 186. I think it's best that please send us an email, admin@sirus.com.au. I'm happy to offer you a free consultation to go through your profile and advise you whether it's best to ask for employer nominated visa and talk to the employer and check the eligibility. If so, then we can go for the subclass 186, which is the permanent residency, while you're waiting for your invitation. I hope that answered
a really
the
good question came from Pradeep Adhikari. So he's got a nomination approval from Western Australia as a motel manager, and he's lodged his 190 visa last January, I believe January 2024. Now he's working in a different field in Western Australia. Does it affect my visa approval? So good key points are you got an invitation as a motel manager under 190 in Western Australia. And the good thing is now you're working in a different occupation but still in Western Australia. The general requirement for 190 is at the time of the invitation. So if you fulfill your requirement at the time of the invitation, you're good with your visa application. But if there's any changes, you're supposed to be informing the case officer, like your civil status, etc., which you should talk to your immigration advisor and get the personalized information. But one of the good things that you're doing is you're living and working in Western Australia because you got nominated through Western Australia. So main thing is continue to live and work in Western Australia. You're required to do that after you get the visa granted for at least 2 years. And if with the changes, as long as like this happens, this is a common problem that a lot of people faces. If there's you're not going through an employee nominated visa category, that would have been a bit of an issue if you were in an employee nominated and you change your occupation. Yeah. But as long as you fulfill your what you submitted for your expression of interest and the information are correct at the time of the invitation during your visa application, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think, do we have more questions?
So let's go to Facebook. Prabhat, thank you so much. You're so kind. Shall I apply for masters in age 39? Sasi Haran. So Sasi, look, I know there's common criteria for putting people on and off, because we are more boutique education migration agency. We go by individual people's scenarios rather than a bulk number. So in bulk numbers, they talk about don't apply if you this. But when we put an application through, we further investigate into your background and your genuinity to suit your background to the migration process or the education process. So with the enrollment process, if you have a sufficient background, if you have a clear education history, clear work history related to the field, and you're genuinely wanting to come to Australia to study, I think age doesn't matter. So if you have a good background, talk to us in your application process, and I'm happy to offer you personalized advice on this.
Yeah, so I think we can talk about the other student visa changes at the same time. There are some new news coming.
Correct. There's been a shuffle between countries and assessment levels. So assessment level in education student visa category is never a permanent thing. It always changes, and it goes by, in general, through a scale of application versus refusal rates for previous quarters. So there's been few changes. Good luck to students from Mexico, Argentina, Spain, Brazil, and Chile. You've now been upgraded to level 1, which means your requirement for visa application is much less compared to other countries. It doesn't mean the other applicants from other countries can be will be ignored. So you can still apply, and your requirement would have been slightly changed from what it used to be. Mario asked me to tell you that there is a YouTube channel that we explain all about these assessment levels and requirements. So I think he'll be kind enough to share the link down below in the comment section, so you can, if you considering coming to Australia to study, if you want to explore more about assessment levels and enrollments, please be in touch. We'll talk to you individually. The process, in my opinion, in general, there are a few major changes, but it doesn't affect genuine students. There's still strong pathways for you. Some of the education providers has been shuffled around from level 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 2, that sort of thing. But most of the universities are remaining in level 1 and level 2 sector, so there's nothing to be worried or disappointed about. Talk to a proper education qualified education agent, so they'll be able to assist you through this process and guide you through this process, how you can plan your next steps. There has been saying that though there has been many changes been imposed last few months, and there's been discussions about this last year. So get proper advice to your background, in my opinion. Especially if you're currently studying in Australia, or if you're about to come to Australia to study, or if you're about to enroll into a university, talk to a qualified education agent or a migration agent to understand do these changes affect your plan or your background, what you're about to do. Then it might help you, rather than wait till the end and do any changes right at the end. So again, there has been big changes. It's a good news for everyone to talk about, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. Don't worry about any negative news. I'm always positive. There's always a good way if you're genuine.
Yeah. And Vinay is asking an extended question, if should I get the ACS processed every time we switch an employee before receiving or after receiving an invitation. See, the trick with New South Wales, I believe you're in New South Wales, they only accept the work experience if you get it assessed through the ACS. So if you want to add more work experience, then you need to get the ACS process. But if you just simply move an employer but it doesn't affect your work experience, then you don't need to get a new ACS report if it's still valid.
This is actually only affecting New South Wales. It's not a requirement for Queensland, Victoria,
states,
WA, any other state. So depending on where you hit Vinay.
So it's a general skill migration update before we leave, and also want to talk a bit about our next live session, which we are going to focus solely on employee-nominated visas, subclass 482, subclass 186, 494. There's a lot of myths and a lot of talk going around. So we want to clear all that. We want to go through the requirements for employers and employees purpose. So if that's something that you're considering, share this with your friends. Be on live, and then send us your questions early. So this is going to be all you need to know to get an Australian work visa.
And this is going to be a very interesting session for employers as well as employees, and how to be qualified and what are your background needs to be, and employers.
Skills assessment requirements, LMT or the labour market testing requirement, genuine position requirements. We are going to go through every single part of
if you're an Australian employer looking to employ someone, and there's so many myths about employing someone who's got a non-Australian background. If you need to clarify anything, we invite you to come into the live session next time, and if you can't wait till then, happy to give you an appointment. Majority of the questions these days are between GTI and work visas for us. So talk to us anytime. We'll be able to give you a personalized guideline. And Mario again highlights us to talk about what's on the screen, migration news.
So there's a recent change of work experience requirement for subclass 491, New South Wales, Pathway 1. So you used to need 12 months work experience, now you only need 6 months work experience.
Another positive news.
Yes.
I always like to talk about positive news, and behind every news there's a positive part. So this is a good thing. Western Australia, 491.
No, not Western Australia, New South Wales.
Sorry. It's almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so before we finish, I think we're going to answer one last question from Kavindi. She did her BSc degree from University of Salford, UK. I got first class for that, so I hope to do a master's in Australia. Should I take IELTS exam for applying student visa?
Kavindi, I believe you're still carrying Sri Lankan citizenship or permanent residency by your name, so I highly recommend you to do it. So there are universities, they might write off your English requirement, but for the visa, with the best. Current weather, you should take up your English. It doesn't have to be, what are you studying? BSc. Yeah, it's not education. So BSc, I guess, IELTS or PT, either one of them is okay. Yeah, there are other TOEFL and stuff too, but I guess IELTS or PT, the common exams are good. All right. Pradeep, Padikari, thank you for joining us all, Pradeep. Oh, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't liked our video, it's time to appreciate our time and knowledge by hitting that like button, and that makes Mario happy. So his KPI goes up.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the next session. Share it with your friends. It's going to be all about work visas.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend. See you in 2 weeks.